Facebook and YouTube, or I actually should just say Facebook. I don't think I want to upload this one to YouTube. So anyway, it's been a long time, it feels like, since I made a video, but had a few things on my mind about the holidays, and so I thought that I would just share my opinion. So don't get bent all out of shape. This is just my opinion and how I see things. So without further ado, there's all kinds of holidays that I could touch on. I've read up on all of them at some point or another, but the one I want to discuss today in particular is Halloween. Now, we could sit and go back and forth all day long and pull up Wikipedia and pull up all these different websites that tell you where Halloween originated and what it was about. About remembering the saints, like the day before Halloween, which was, I think, actually created to counteract Halloween, which is supposedly the day or the evening or the night or whatever that the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest, which would lead one to believe that you could contact the dead, or would be most likely to be able to contact the dead on Halloween night. So, most of you are probably thinking, okay, that's not what Halloween means to me. I just dress my kids up in a costume, we go grab some candy, and call it a day. Alright, that may be all fine and well, but if you are a Christian, you need to stop and think for a minute. I know that is fun, but we need to put fun aside for just a second and look at reality. Let's look at Halloween, no matter what it started out to be, which from what I've read, it didn't start out to be anything very Christian in the first place. But for sake of argument, let's just say it started out innocently enough. Well, what it has become, let's just look at this logically here. Most people, or a lot of people, they go out and buy decorations that consist of cobwebs and spiders and images of Frankenstein and vampires and witches hanging on their doors and all these things that are absolutely not things that represent Christianity. No way you slice it, okay? And then if you want to get a little more technical, children, and I'm sure adults too, back in the day, used to dress up in costumes in order to keep evil spirits away. One might say, what's wrong with that? Keeping evil spirits away is a good thing, right? Sure, if Jesus Christ is your Savior, you can keep spirits that are bad away from you that way. We are not told in the Bible to dress up in a costume to keep them away. So, no, you would be wrong to think that is okay. That is a man-made idea that would work. Now, the next thing about Halloween that irks me personally is, even as Christians, we choose to just pick the pieces out of Halloween, like dressing up in costumes and trick-or-treating, and that's the only part of it we want anything to do with. We don't want anything to do with seances or talking to the dead or Ouija boards or going on a cemetery or watching, all these bloody movies and all these hacker films and all that. Okay, so we're just picking and choosing what we want out of it. That very much reminds me of the people that have taken Christmas away and turned it into holiday. Why? Well, let's see the similarities. They also have chosen bits and pieces out of Christmas that they like, which is the eating, being with family, hanging out, decorations, the tree, and of course the presents. Hey, they've even thrown in Santa Claus. Why not? But they're not interested in the real meaning, of course. So here's where it gets a little funny to me. So because there were some people who decided to be offended or not think it was fair to call Christmas Christmas, But they still wanted to celebrate, mind you. They still wanted to have fun. Because, you know, having fun is what we're here to do. That was sarcasm, in case you didn't catch it. They changed the name, almost everywhere, to just holiday. Happy holidays. Okay, so how about we do this? Since we, or some of us, hopefully most of us, if not all of us, don't celebrate Halloween for any witchy, wicked reason. We just want to get some candy, let the kids get some candy, have a little party, dress silly, whatever. We don't want nothing to do with the, you know, the evil, spooky side of it. And we're just picking and choosing what we want from it. Wouldn't it be fair to just call it holiday too? Happy holiday. Let's just put a vague name on everything then. Why not? Wouldn't that be fair? We'll call Christmas holiday. We'll call Halloween holiday. And I'm not going to get started on Easter and the fertility rituals and the goddess and the Easter bunny, who is a very good at reproducing. I'm not sure that'd be one you would want to explain to your children, at least not your 5 or 6 year old. So you will probably look at the Easter bunny differently now if you didn't already know that. Also the eggs, fertility. I'm not going to go into all that though. But anyway, and also Thanksgiving. You know, the Native Americans are dead. Yeah, and we decided to have a feast on that day. Wow, we're something, aren't we? But sticking to the topic of the moment, which really should be this part of my hair right here, but we won't go there today. But you're welcome to enjoy it while I'm videoing. I've probably been staring at it the whole time anyway. But anyhow, yeah, I think that it would be completely fair for us to just call Halloween simply holiday. Don't give it a specific name, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we're not going to celebrate it for what it is anyway, right? I mean, just like Christmas, hey, we want all the stuff we want out of it, but let's not talk about what it's really about, right? What a world we live in. But here's the thing. So, the problem at hand is schools and possibly even churches, I don't know, and families all over the place decorate for Halloween, have parties for Halloween, and still do these rituals. And if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty with the costumes, you know, I'll tell you what, here's a good idea. I think everybody deserves to know what each specific holiday is, the true meaning of it. So I think at Christmas, everybody needs to know what Christmas is celebrated for, what we're celebrating. And our children should know. And while we're at it, let's also, since we're going to call it Halloween, because that is what it's called and has been called for, you know, a long time, let's be sure and let the kids also know the truth about it. And we'll tell them that, hey kids, that's the night when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest. Ooh. And the reason you're wearing that costume is to keep demons away from you. Yeah, see how good they sleep that night after you tell them that. That's not something I want to be telling my 5-year-old or my 6-year-old. Some of you may think this is radical or extreme, or I'm just trying to, you know, stir something up. I'm not. It's just how I feel. And I have a really hard time accepting the fact that prayer has been taken out of school, Christ has been taken out of Christmas, and yet nobody has took notice. Good old Halloween, right? I almost was at a loss for words for a second. But y'all know I can always find words to say. Point is, as Christians, and if you're not a Christian, you should still listen. You really need to be careful what you're celebrating. Do not feel like you are doing your child an injustice because you tell them Santa Claus is not a real man that is going to come and leave them lots of presents and going to decide if they have been good or bad. That is not true. Supposedly there was a man, St. Nicholas, who did give out things to the children years and years ago, I guess around that time, and Christmas time. But he does not ride in a sleigh, and he does not, come down chimneys and do all this magical stuff. That is man-made. That is not true. We need to teach our children the truth. And the truth is that it is not okay to glorify murders by watching horror movies. And if you're not glorifying them, then you are definitely, by letting a young child watch those things, you're desensitizing them to things that are evil. And wow, I bet the devil is getting a real chuckle, and has been for years, at all these Christians that aren't even thinking a thing in the world about Halloween. Gosh, Lee, we're just having a good time, getting some candy. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, I beg to differ. So, it's going to be somewhat of an issue for me to decide this year, because, I should have put a disclaimer ahead of time. I'm not saying that I am the perfect Christian, and I do not allow anything that is not of the Bible in my home, because I would be lying. I mean, really, my home needs to be purged of all kinds of stuff that is nonsense, that I don't need to be, watching or listening to, or, there's all kinds of stuff. But here's the thing. My kids have watched scary movies. I've watched scary movies. And I'm not saying I've never dressed my kids up as something scary. I dressed one of my kids up like the devil one year. Horns that stuck to the forehead. They had hair that stuck on. Frightening. And sat and cackled and laughed. Oh, look how scary he looks. What was I thinking? That is scary. Not even funny, it's scary. So you have people that dress babies like devils and zombies, and honestly, and this is the truth, for the last couple of years, there was one year that I didn't let them dress up just because I was thinking, it's evil, whatever. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, the last couple of years, I have just dressed them up like zombies. Why? Because I'm a cheapskate, and I am not trying to spend no big money on no costume from Lily and Vernon or wherever these fancy places are y'all get these costumes at. I just slap on some blue eyeshadow under their eyes, make them look all decrepit, and throw them on a ripped up shirt and send them on their way. They get their candy, get their loot, and they're home. But, really, it's something you need to think about. If it's not, what would Jesus do? That's perfect right there. Would Jesus approve of us dressing our kids up and sending them out to get candy whenever this originated, from what it really originated from? I'm just really not convinced that it would be a yes. So it's just something to chew on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make anybody angry. Really, I'm not. I'm just trying to get you to open your mind and think a little bit. Everybody's always saying, have an open mind, have an open mind. Well, hey, have an open mind. Think about it, right? Right. So anyhow, just gives you something to think about. And that goes with any kind of holiday. They're man-made. So you got to be really, 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 really careful. And, what would be the harm in Halloween night coming and going just like any other day? Why even have to take notice of it? Because we feel like we have to. Because our kids will feel left out, if they're not the majority. We need to teach our kids differently. I think that is about it. Like I said, I didn't make this video to make anybody mad, or, I've already been called the poverty preacher. I'm no preacher, by the way. I'm only a servant of God. I am not a preacher. I do not claim to be. That is another disclaimer I should have said. But I've already had that thrown at me before, so I don't want to be known as, the mean Christian lady that's trying to take trick or treat away from the children. I just want you to have an open mind and think a minute about what you're really celebrating, because I think it's really important. So the whole thing boiling down to, everything we do needs to be to further the kingdom and be for the glorifying of God, and that Halloween is definitely not doing that. So just something to think about. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of haters come up and have all kinds of things to say about Halloween. But anyway, I'm going to get off here and get this uploaded, and I hope you all will understand what I'm trying to say. And until next time, Facebook and or Facebook, YouTube, according to if I put it on YouTube or not, I don't know. We'll see. God bless you. Have a good day. I always end these so haphazardly. I'll just make a weird face and then turn it off.